Hello, my seedlings. Welcome back to the Grove. If it is your first time here, my name is Celine Whitetail, and thank you so much for answering my call to be here with me today. Grab a book and a comfy spot in the shade and stay with me a while as I talk to you about the 12 books I would like to read in July. As a quick rundown, in June, I had 12 books I wanted to get to, and only got to 10 due to a few chunky ones, so I have 2 left over from June's TBR, which is A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden and Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. A Dawn of Onyx is the first in the completed Sacred Stones Romantasy trilogy that follows Arwen Valendale, a girl who has rare healing magic and is captured by the Onyx King to heal his soldiers on the front line. I've heard a lot of good things and seen a lot of people put it on their TBRs, and of course, since it's a romantasy, I had to put it onto mine. I love enemies to lovers, forced proximity, a captor-captee romance. It all sounds like a really great time. The Emily Wilde series is a completed fantasy romance trilogy. Emily Wilde is a Cambridge professor and researcher who's writing an encyclopedia about fairies and is looking for a species known as the Hidden Ones. Her academic rival, Wendell Bambleby? Bambleby. Wait, hold on. I must have gotten that wrong. That can't be his name, can it? No, that is his name. Well, okay. Professor Brambleby tags along and romance and mystery ensues. Fun fact, for you, not my wallet, I actually accidentally bought this book twice, so a lucky free library will be receiving a brand new copy in the future. And I'm really looking forward to this series because I've heard a lot of great things about it, and a neural spicy girly and a grumpy professor romance, I am all in. I have a feeling I'm going to relate pretty heavily to Emily because she's described as an introvert who prefers the companies of her books and her dog, and honestly, girl, same. Next, we are picking up Dead Witch Walking by Kim Harrison. This is the first in a whopping 18-book urban fantasy series that started back in 2004 and had its most recent release in 2024. 20th year anniversary. Go you, Kim. This is one of the first books I added to my Goodreads TBR when I created it in January because one of the few book series I had read in my life up to that point was the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series, and this gives me very similar vibes based on the cover alone. Even though the first 7 books aren't marked as romance in the genre tags, the synopsis are giving me some spicy vibes. One of them literally says she's dating a vampire while living with another one. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This is an urban fantasy series about Rachel Morgan, who is described as a sexy bounty hunter, and witch to, I would assume, dangerous paranormal creatures, as some seem to be out in the world. Again, giving me Anita Blake vibes, and that is not a knock because I love the Anita Blake trilogy. No, that series has 25 books in it, girl. What are you talking about? I really enjoyed Anita Blake. I really hate to say guilty pleasure because that implies that the book series isn't good enough for anything like that. I really hate calling anything that I enjoy a guilty pleasure because I shouldn't feel guilty about the things that I enjoy. And it's some vocabulary choices that I'm trying to get rid of, but it's in a similar vein. I really, really enjoyed it. They're really quick reads. You can get through them in a couple of days. Man, usually I would end up binging the first 3 in a day each because they're just so fast to flip through. There's a standalone mystery, crime novel aspect with some sexy vampires. I actually went to a used bookstore last month and got as many of them as they had. I'm trying to complete my full set of Anita Blake so I can go back and read it. I'm one of those people that I always start at the very beginning of a series, and then if I stop, I have to go back and reread it. So I've probably reread the first 5-6 books half a dozen to a dozen times at this point because they were really the only books that I read. Very, very enjoyable. So I've been kind of looking to see if I can find anything similar to it because, the 25 books that I have of it aren't enough. I need other series that are similar to it as well. I'm really looking forward to this one. Also on my June TBR is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, the sequel to A Court of Thorns and Roses. Do I really need to give a recap of ACOTAR? Everyone's read the series because it's great. We pick up after the events and consequences of the last book, and I have heard nothing but great things about this book. People, generally, from what I've seen, say that Mist and Fury is better than ACOTAR, and I gave ACOTAR like 6 stars out of 5, so I'm super excited to finally continue a series for once. I also want to read Split or Swallow, also known as Kiss of the Basilisk, by Lindsay Straub. I was drawn to this book originally back in April when it felt like everyone was talking about it because they all were clutching their pearls over how unhinged and spicy it is. And if you know anything about me, I love spicy books. The spicier, the better. Spice makes books better for me, if I'm being honest, because I'm very much a character over plot reader. A book doesn't necessarily have to have the strongest plot in the world if I love following the characters around. And obviously, great plot is preferred if we can get it, but if I had to choose, I'd choose great character chemistry over great plot. I live for good banter that makes me roll my eyes and smile. And listen, I want to see the characters that I love banging boots, okay? Anyway, Kiss of the Basilisk is the first in a planned trilogy, plus a prequel, or the prequel is part of the 3 books in the trilogy. The post I found about it wasn't very clear. It's a dark, spicy romantasy about Temperance Varys, who is trying to win the hand of the prince, so she's paired with a basilisk to learn how to be sexy, because she's basically a part of Regency Bachelor. I think she's a human. The synopsis isn't quite clear. So it sounds like we have a sexy monster intimacy coach, trials, and a whole lot of spice. I don't know if I think this will be a 5-star prediction, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is, honestly. Then we have a big one, Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens. This is a standalone romantasy about 2 people who are destined to fall in love and kill each other in infinite timelines and lifetimes, and the story of trying to finally break that cycle. Laura Stevens has been publishing since 2018, and this new February 2025 release got her a lot of new eyes, which is so exciting. We love to see hard work pay off in a big way for the girlies. This plot is so me-coded. It actually reminds me a lot of the plot of an otome, or Japanese romance visual novel, a story-heavy dating sim with a female demographic targeted, called Amnesia Memories, where a girl wakes up with amnesia, and a stranger appears in every timeline trying to kill her, and discovering who that person is and why they're trying to kill her is so fun. And I love the story of Amnesia Memories so much, so I anticipate loving this book. Starting another series, I want to read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This is a part of the Dream Harbor Interconnected series where each book features a new couple and a new place of business within Dream Harbor. I've heard mixed things about this series, but generally the only negative things I ever hear about it is that they're too spicy from spice dislikers, and as I said before, I love spice, so this series seems perfect, honestly. I love a small town romance. All those shops seem so adorable. The last book is about a flower shop, and there are some professions that if I see it in a synopsis, I instantly put it on my TBR, and florist is one of them. There are currently 6 books planned, with 4 already released and 2 more through 2026. This book follows Jeannie, a city girl who inherits the Pumpkin Spice Cafe from her aunt, and Logan, a local farmer that wants nothing to do with her, until he does. I eat up a grumpy sunshine lovers from different worlds story all day long, and I don't care, I will read about pumpkin spice lattes in July. Next up we have A World Apart by Kate Alexandra, a contemporary romance novel featuring a K-pop idol navigating the tumultuous life of stardom and scrutiny and the girl he falls in love with. I love K-pop and K-dramas, and several K-pop idol romances were the first things that I added to my TBR once I realized that they existed. I am absolutely a vain girly and can be persuaded to look into a book based on its cover, and this one is gorgeous. Again, I love a billionaire romance if the girl is poor, down on her luck, or a romance of a normal girl who falls in love with a superstar. It's the K-drama lover in me. While doing research for this video, I learned that there's going to be a direct sequel to this book titled When Worlds Collide coming out in July, so better get to this now. I seem to always have the best timing when picking these books. Also on my July TBR is A Teller of Small Fortunes, a standalone cozy fantasy by debut author Julie Leong. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Tao is a traveling fortune teller who sells her trade by telling people small, innocuous fortunes. She's recruited to help find a missing child, an adventure and backstory ensues. This sounds very much like a D&D adventure, and I hope I like this book. I'm a little uncertain only because I'm discovering that books without romance can lose my interest, but this looks like a short, sweet read, and I've heard a lot of really good things. I also got this beautiful special edition on Pengu, so I better like it. Leong is releasing her second book, The Keeper of Magical Things, in October of this year, which seems to have similar vibes and a gorgeous cover to boot. I try to put 12 books on my TBR per month, and I generally can read anywhere between 10 and 13 books a month depending on length of books. And honestly, how many books I obsessively read and screw my sleep schedule over. So I'll be filling out with 3 more books from my 25 in 2025 list. These 25 books were chosen randomly from my at the time updated Goodreads TBR in April, and I hope to have a video about it soon, but I might just end up doing a wrap up. I'm gonna level with you guys for a second. I struggle to do both a TBR and a wrap up video because it seems a little bit redundant. So I end up writing the TBR video. I do it for April, May, and June, but didn't end up recording them, so they just turned into a half-year wrap-up video instead that I'm completely rewriting the script for. It's probably the part of my brain that's annoyed things aren't not symmetrical, but like well-rounded by having started off doing all of this in January and whatnot, so just have to get over that mental hurdle and just do it. Okay, so 25 and 2025 books. The first is No for an Answer by CJ Riggs. This is a dark romance, erotic horror thriller novel that I had to chance looking at reviews to get a little bit more details for the synopsis. Macy went to live with a nice farm family upstate a year ago, and Ashley, her best friend, is given Macy's diary and finds out why she unalived herself, and now she wants revenge. The reviews on Amazon say that this book has a lot of good plot twists, and after reading my first dark romance with God of Malice by Irina Kent, which I am obsessed with, I am excited to try a dark erotic horror. That feels like we're gonna get a slasher plotline. Next on my list of 25 and 2025 is The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia, the first in a planned dark romantasy trilogy. Ending the month with a lot of dark books accidentally. Our FMC is a serial killer, a botanist who poisons unsavory men. We support women's rights and women's wrongs here, and we love a female serial killer who kills gross men with a day job. Things get hairy when she tries to poison a playboy named Silas, and he lives. The synopsis doesn't explain it, but the tags on Goodreads says vampire, so I'm assuming Silas is a vampire. I love a vampire-human romance, and if we have a morally gray or black FMC, I might get my favorite kind of vampire, which are the unhinged eating people kind, not the soft and fluffy vegetarian vampires most writers feel they need to write to make them palpable. This is a planned trilogy, but the author has said that the final book might be so long it gets extended into a 4-book series. Also, side tangent, we have duology and trilogy, which sounds so nice, then we get into made-up stuff like tentology and pentology, like, okay shapes, we get it. You think you're cool and need to hang out with the numbers, but the numbers have their own thing going on. Leave them alone. Stop trying to get involved in math. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the last of the 3 books I want to read is I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Liang. This young adult contemporary romance is about high school student Sadie, who's very conflict averse, so to deal with the drama in her life, she'll write out emails to people with how she's really feeling, and then leaves them unsent. Until one day, every single draft email gets sent, and everyone in her school now knows what she really thinks about them. If this were me, this book would be 50 pages long, with 49 pages of build-up followed with a 1-page epilogue. Celine immediately started being homeschooled and never left her house again. I would die in Minecraft, dude. You have no idea. I am so conflict averse and an introvert, so this sounds like my worst nightmare in high school. You know, before I had real things to worry about, like taxes as a self-employed content creator with 6 different income streams. That's a real horror novel right there. Anyway, I'm not a big young adult enjoyer as that's not my demographic anymore, but this premise is so immediately compelling and there's a cute romance that stems from it that I have to read. A novella was released in 2025 with an honestly kind of confusing synopsis. It says their story continues with their POVs, but the cover kind of indicates it's kind of one of those books where it's from his point of view, while the first book is from her point of view. I'll honestly probably pick it up immediately after, since both books together will make it about 400 pages, and hey, stat boosts. Novellas are books too. Or are they? I don't actually know, but I'm counting it towards my books read, because who's gonna stop me? The reading police?
This is the reading police. Come out with your hands up. Keep the smut visible where we can see it.
Oh shit.